Hi-Fi Rush came out earlier this year seemingly out of nowhere. It was released on the same day it was announced and quickly garnered both commercial and critical success. It blew us all away with its gorgeous cel-shaded graphics, its rocking soundtrack, and most of all, its innovative blend of action platforming with hack-and-slash combat combined with a heavy emphasis on rhythm mechanics. Truly, it was a game unlike anything the world had ever seen before. Or was it? This is No Straight Roads, a little indie game that came out more than 2 years earlier. It combined action platforming with hack-and-slash combat and, you guessed it, a heavy emphasis on rhythm mechanics. You play as Mayday and Zook, members of the indie rock band Bunkbed Junction. You can freely switch between the two characters in real time if playing alone, or play co-op with a friend, allowing each player to control one of the two bandmates. The game takes place in Vinyl City, where music controls everything. It generates the power needed to provide electricity to the people, and gameplay-wise, it dictates the actions of your enemies. As the game starts, you find yourself auditioning in a talent competition to join NSR, the organization that controls all of the city's power. Unfortunately, the NSR judges are not interested in your rock music. Rock is a thing of the past. Electronic dance music is the future, and it's all anybody seems to care about. Distraught, Mayday and Zook walk away and see something alarming, a blackout. What's more, the only areas in town with backup generators are NSR's buildings. Clearly, this is a messed up organization that doesn't care about the people in the city. Bunkbed Junction then decides to take matters into their own hands and squash NSR while bringing the love of rock music back to the city. The gameplay loop has you exploring a bit of the city, progressing through stages of enemies, and eventually taking on a boss. Once you've fought the boss, you get sent back to your HQ in the sewers where you can power up your characters with skill trees, further modify your character's traits with upgrades you've found, and do other various things like feed a cute crocodile or participate in a radio interview to gain more fans, which equal more skill points. You then unlock a new section of the city to explore, enter a stage, fight a boss, rinse, and repeat. It's actually really satisfying. And if you're no good at rhythm games, that's okay. This game actually doesn't require you to play it like a rhythm game. Sure, it helps to be able to predict, avoid, and counter enemy attacks which move to the beat of the music, but it's not totally necessary. Unlike Hi-Fi Rush, you don't need to time your attacks with the beat. The enemies just attack with the beat, and that's pretty much it. So it's very possible to play the game just like any other action game for the most part. Each of the two characters have their own strengths. Mayday is a hard-hitting guitarist who uses her guitar to bash enemies and do tons of damage. Zook, on the other hand, is a drummer. He does less damage per hit with his drumsticks, but he's much faster. He can string longer combos and also quickly cancel out of them when it's time to retreat from oncoming attacks. In addition to their basic moves, each character will learn other special skills that can be equipped to your liking, and the duo can unleash some awesome team finishers as well. Making things even more interesting are environmental objects that you can transform into helpful aids like turrets during battles. There's a ton of stuff to collect throughout the game, and it never gets boring exploring these environments throughout the 5-ish hour story. Gameplay's fun enough, but what really makes this title special is its heart. This game has a lot of heart. I found it a little cheesy at times, especially at the beginning, but by the end of it I really felt for these characters. I grew to appreciate not only the heroes, but also the villains. The game's visuals are really interesting too. The whole world just glows and shines with tons of personality. It's a real treat to look at. No, it's not the most realistic or high-textured thing you've ever seen, but it oozes with style and has some really creative and surprising areas. The characters themselves look out of this world and remind me of something between Gorillaz and Psychonauts. But what good is a music-oriented game without a great soundtrack? Luckily, NSR delivers here too. If you're an EDM fan and you're offended about the plot to overtake EDM with rock, don't be. The irony here is that the game has a lot of really good EDM tracks. It also has a lot of really nice rock tracks. The best part of all is the mashup between the two genres. It's not really a story about rock being better than EDM, it's a story about creative expression and accepting its various forms. The game's creators even admit to liking EDM. There's a lot of catchy tracks here inspired by different genres, from the guitar-heavy title theme to a classical piano-inspired ensemble, and everything in between. The ending theme even turned me onto the Japanese rock band One Eye Closed. Definitely check out Low, the song from the end credits. It's a banger. So if the game's so good, why didn't it get the recognition that Hi-Fi Rush would get years later? Well, to put it simply, it's an indie game. It's not quite as polished as a big budget AAA title, and it certainly didn't have the same level of marketing as something published by Bethesda. But it does have a lot of big fans. I just feel like most people don't know about it. Did Hi-Fi Rush actually copy No Straight Roads, or was it just a coincidence? I can't say for sure, but I'm betting on it being a coincidence. Per Wikipedia, NSR began development in 2017, the same year that Hi-Fi Rush was pitched, although Hi-Fi wouldn't go into development until the following year. Hi-Fi's creator, Shinji Mikami, claimed that the idea for the game had been in his mind for a long time. The Wikipedia article also says the game was inspired by movies like Shaun of the Dead, which makes very little sense to me, but okay, Wikipedia. For what it's worth, they're not the same games, and they're both really good. I didn't make this video to trash Hi-Fi Rush. I actually really like Hi-Fi Rush, and I would love to see more of these action rhythm games in the future. The whole point of this video was just to show some love for No Straight Roads, a game that deserves a lot more attention, and a sequel. Let me know your thoughts on No Straight Roads and this whole situation. Thanks for watching the video, have a good one, I'll see you next time.